Hey guys, Seth here. Gonna do a video response to my buddy Alex and Steven from Gudkarma. I saw the video pop up the other day as I'm subbed to Gudkarma, aka Steven, about the cutting the soup cans, and yeah, I agree. It's pretty stupid. But I saw Alex made a video and he's talking about he had a conversation with Steven about how people that are not formally trained should never pick up swords, and of course I disagree. I totally disagree, obviously. So I'm going to give my thoughts on the whole concept of formally trained and not formally trained. Should you use a sword? Should you buy a sword? Should you own a sword? And I'm going to use some examples that kind of, it's a good comparison, I think, because any of these objects can take your life or anybody else's. So let's just get started. So, of course you shouldn't cut laptops. I mean, that's not even debatable. Of course, that's not a good target to cut. We all know that. And most of these things are by people on YouTube who are trying to get views and subs and likes, because guess what? They get paid off of that. And instead of going out there and getting a real job. Anyway, I digress. But the point is when you get to the point where you have to make a public service announcement, a PSA, directed at people like that and say, hey, you probably shouldn't do that, you've already wasted your time, because they're willing to take that risk for likes and subs, and that's just the reality of it. And it's like Alex said, people are going to cut with what they want. They're going to do what they want to do. And I think that's especially true in the way things are now. I'm not going to get into politics and, and the left or the right wing or whatever, but I mean, just look at the things we decide to do. You have people tattooing their eyeballs now. You have people having surgery to turn themselves into aliens. Obviously, people are going to do what they want to do. But should you cut in a safe way if you had no formal training? Absolutely. Absolutely. And here's what I'm going to tell you. Most people that own firearms, I won't say most, I'll say probably maybe a good third, maybe a half. I don't know the stats. So if anyone does know that answer to this one, just put it down in the comments. But the point is, not everyone that owns a firearm has had military training or police training. So we should have formal training from a sensei to handle an object like this, but we shouldn't have, or we don't have to have, that for live firearms. I mean, I don't get the point there. I don't get the reasoning, the thought process, I guess. Because at this point in time, anybody without a criminal record, good ID and all this kind of stuff, can walk into any gun store and buy a firearm. I did it not even 5 years ago. Bought an AR-15. I had no military background. I had no police training. But before I got my AR, I did a few things. Obviously I've handled firearms before, but I've never had an AR. With that type of weapon. It's always been like handguns mainly. Automatic handguns. Well, semi-automatic. I'm sorry. And I did some research on how to break it down, how to clean it, how to maintain it, proper way to hold it. Just general stuff. And of course, when I got it, I was able to, use the weapon in a safe manner for target practice, and so on and so forth. And I was able to, do my little add-ons, put the laser sights on there, all the little bells and whistles that guys love to do to our ARs and stuff. And, safely. Did I go to a qualified military instructor to learn all this? No, just common sense and just doing a little bit of research. The internet's out there. There's books, there's internet, there's videos, there's whatever. Same thing can be done for swords. I've been into swords ever since I was a kid. I have no formal training. I've never gone to a school where I've studied under a sensei who has taught me how to handle a sword. But as you watch my videos, I do some pretty cool cuts on bottles. I cut mats. I cut authentic Japanese tatami the other day right here in my living room, which I know some people may say I wouldn't do that, but oh well. I'm single. This is an apartment. I really don't care. I made sure everything was out of the way. The cat was out of the way. I had, I had nothing that was going to break or whatever in the way, so I was able to perform the cuts. Pretty cool Tombow cut, by the way, with the RK2 here. But the point is I never went to a dojo, but I still handle a sword pretty damn good. There's people that I'm friends with. I have several friends. One of them is a 5th Dan. He just got promoted to 5th Dan. Let me actually pull that up and see what Ryu he's under. I can't remember. I got so many friends that are formally trained. Let's see here. Okay, he got his Godan, which is 5th Dan, 5th degree black belt, and Taibei Ryu Tameshigiri tonight at the dojo. And this is his certificate. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. But I'm not going to give you his name. Actually, I probably just did because it has it on the certificate. But the point is I have very high quality, very highly trained friends that give me advice all the time on how I can cut. They don't beat me up about, well, you should have held the sword a little bit different. And they say, well, let's do it this way. This is the proper way, and you'll improve. That's the key word, and that's what I like to do. I like to improve. So far right now, I have 3 formally trained friends that, I'll post the video. Sometimes it's private. I'll say, hey, guys, tell me what I can do here. How's my no-toe on this? How's my my stance? How's whatever? How's my tip speed on my cuts? How's my angles? And they'll tell me. So that's the closest I can get to the dojo experience. But people that go buy swords and they just want to have some fun in the backyard. And I've watched a lot of these videos, guys. I watched a lot of backyard cutters. Not everyone can do the cuts that me and Alex and Matthew and even Ken and so on and so forth. People that I know in the community, they're just out there having fun. But even though their technique is it's really bad a lot of times, but I see a lot of guys, they get the camera set up, they get the kid out of the way, they say, honey, put the dog over here. They look around before they make the cut. They have no idea what the proper stances are, but they're being safe. I think that's the whole point of this video from Steven, is cutting in a safe manner. Now, sure, these guys could use some pointers from some formally trained people, like, the guy I just showed you, or John Pope. He's a very good swordsman. He's on YouTube. Scott Kane, he cut better than a lot of formally trained people before he even started going to the dojo, because he had contact with these other people that I just mentioned. But point is even though their technique is shitty, and a lot of times they knock the bottle away if they're cutting a bottle, which is the most common target you'll see pretty much from backyard cutters of bottles. Mats are expensive, and without proper training or good alignment or being skilled with the sword, whether you have a 1st Dan, 5th Dan, or no Dan, it's expensive, So, and plus most people just want to have fun. It's not about doing in martial arts. It's about using the sword and having a ball, having a good time. So should that person that, he works 40 hours a week, he's got a wife and kid, he remembers, being a kid, he always wanted a sword. He watched He-Man and Thundercats and all that crap. So there's a lot of good sword companies out there that make, well-made swords made in China. Is there any reason in the world that guy shouldn't be able to use his own money to buy a sword to go cut some bottles in his backyard? Absolutely not. That's like saying you should have a license to go buy a machete. What's the difference? But I think what it all boils down to is people get on there on YouTube, they try to get likes, they try to get views and subs, and they do these crazy things, and it's dangerous. But I think a lot of it comes from, it's not someone cutting dangerously, it's the elitist in these people. And even me, I have no formal training at all, except for what my friends suggest to me. But a lot of times when I'm watching someone cut, I'm like, you know what, I could probably help them with just telling them what my formally trained friends have told me to improve myself. I could pass it on to them, but I don't know if they want the knowledge. I don't know if they would accept what I would tell them, or even if they want it, if they're just having a good time, if they don't care about moving up or improving. And I had to catch myself and just kind of sit back and like, okay, they're having fun. You know, just let them have fun. They're not hurting anybody. But I think a lot of times that's the problem is people that are formally trained, they live in Japan or they travel to Japan, they take it as an insult when an unformally trained person goes out there and uses a sword. And I understand how it feels. You know, it's like you spend all this time learning something and, you know, growing your knowledge, and you see someone else out there and you want to say something. I understand it. It's kind of like an itch. You're trying to scratch it or whatever. But a lot of people started out that way. I plan to one day become formally trained and, you know, hold some kind of a rank and some kind of a Ryu, you know, and I would love to do that. But right now I do what I can. But in closing, don't let anyone tell you what you can't do with your own money and your own property. As long as you're not hurting anybody else. I see people all the time take the risk for themselves. If that's what you want to do it. I've always said I don't care what other people do. It's what you're trying to tell them to do. You know, if you're trying to say it's okay for them to cut unsafe and they don't know any better, that's the problem I have. But by all means, if you want to go out there and do something stupid, that's on your head. You know, you have enough sense as a grown person to know what a sword can do. It shouldn't take anyone giving you a PSA, hey, maybe you shouldn't cut that cinder block over there. Some dangerous shit could happen. You know what's going to happen. You put metal against a brick or a stone, something bad's going to happen. You know, and you're accepting that risk for your likes and your subs and your views. And if you get hurt, that's on you. Guess what? You could probably post that and get some more views, you know, right then from doing that. I've seen people do it. There's a guy on YouTube right now. He's a very, very famous YouTuber. He got hurt. He hurt himself trying to cut fruit flying at him with some knives. He messed himself up real bad. But the videos he made him money. So, I guess in closing is I agree with Alex and I agree with Steven on a lot of stuff he says. But do you have to be formally trained to own and use a sword? The answer is no. You guys have a great night. I'm going to go play some Call of Duty. And I'm going to look at my sword. HSTS RK2. Which doesn't want to stand up right here. Anyway guys, you have a great one. Peace and same night.